Yeah. Yeah. Here.
Your Honor, I think we're actually gonna have the presider up here and two judges down there, so the witness can have one of these binders in front of them.
Understood. All right, I'm not presiding, so I'll get down. Presiding?
Yes.
All right. I think we're on your way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, so I ended
Sure.
pleasant. Maybe.
I'm trying to get this digital ballot. I'm on my, I can. Paper guy myself.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, good morning. Morning.
So we're going to start at 9:30, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is someone going to be the timekeeper?
I am, Your Honor.
So 9:30, I think we should probably begin. I believe we're going to start with opening statements.
Yes, Your Honor. Before we proceed, the plaintiff actually has a few pretrial matters to attend to.
So let's attend to them.
Yes, Your Honor. Permission to make appearances before the court.
Please,
Sorry,
please.
any conflicts? No? All right, you do it, sorry.
All right. Yes, before we begin, I should probably make you look around here myself. My name is Gabriel Levina. I am an attorney who's been licensed since 2001. I did my first trial in 2001 and went out of law school. I've been practicing since then. I've done jury trials in both federal and state court cases. I've done criminal and civil, wrongful death cases, attempted murder cases. And I look forward to presiding in today's proceedings. Counsel, please make your appearance.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning. My name is Nick Kitahara, and alongside my colleagues, Mr. John Lee,
Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning.
Mr. Aaron Matthew,
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
and Miss Lauren Stoneman,
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
we represent the estate of AJ Maloney. Now, we have a few housekeeping matters to attend to, but first, would you like to hear appearances from the defendant?
Yes, please.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Kira Hughes, and today I'm joined by my co-counsel.
Hello, Your Honor. My name is Zoe Haug.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Mitchell Leander.
And today we're representing the defendant in today's case, Teddy Mothersbaugh.
Thank you for that.
Your Honor, first, there are a few stipulations we'd like to note to the court. Beginning with stipulation 13, it should be in that binder in front of you.
Is it on page 13? Oh, I see it.
Yes, Your Honor. Stipulation 13 actually notes the number of exhibits that have been pre-admitted for today's trial. It says exhibits 3, 6, and 7 are pre-admitted, and the parties further stipulate that all pre-admitted exhibits may be used during opening statement.
Is that correct, defense?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Next, Your Honor, just to direct your attention to stipulation 14, we'd like to note that if Dr. Talbot Meyer is not testifying, all objections have been waived to the exhibits 1 and 2, and the parties agree that no additional foundation is necessary for admission. Your Honor, Dr. Talbot Meyer won't be testifying in court today, so we expect that stipulation might be real.
Thank you for that.
Finally, Your Honor, the plaintiff would like to invoke Rule 603 and 615, which calls for the constructive swearing in and sequestration of all witnesses.
Understood.
With that, Your Honor, the plaintiff is ready to proceed.
Please do so.
Before we proceed, Your Honor, the defense actually has just a couple pretrial matters.
Yes.
We'd just like to ask for your preferences on asking permission moving about the courtroom. Should we ask permission before approaching opposing counsel, yourself, or the witness?
No permission is necessary to approach counsel or myself.
Yes, Your Honor. And with that, the defense is ready to proceed.
Thank you for that.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
No permission is necessary.
I'm gonna be over here if everyone can see me, if that's all right. May it please the court. Ms. Howe. Members of the jury. She had her target. And she took her out. It's July 20th of last year. And at a nightclub downtown, everything seems normal. The music's playing, drinks are flowing, but in the dark alleyway behind the bar, there's a woman lying in a pool of her own blood. She has a broken arm, broken foot, a broken clavicle, her shoulder is dislocated, there's internal bleeding in her gut, and her brain is hemorrhaging. Members of the jury, you'll learn that that woman's name was A.J. Maloney. And on that night back in July, she fell into a coma. She still hasn't woken up. So how did a perfectly healthy 33-year-old woman go from living her life normally to living on a feeding tube? Well, you'll learn that the defendant took this hammer and beat Miss Maloney over and over and over and over again until members of the jury, Miss Maloney couldn't move. Because you see, the defendant is a vigilante here in the city. She claims that she's administering justice, but you'll learn that she actually stalks her targets for weeks. And then in the middle of the night, puts on a disguise to take them out. Now, that's why the estate of A.J. Maloney has brought a claim of battery against the defendant, Teddy Mothersbaugh. Because when you beat someone into a coma, members of the jury, you have to face the consequences. Now, we actually expect that the defense will be pursuing an affirmative defense, which means they actually agree to the facts of the case. They agree that the defendant beat A.J. Maloney into a coma. They agree that the defendant broke her arm, broke her foot, broke her clavicle, caused internal bleeding and a brain hemorrhage. But we expect that they'll argue that this was all in the defense of someone else. And with that, they actually take on a burden of their own. They have to prove that it's more likely than not that the defendant's actions was proportionate in mitigating the threat. They have to prove it was more likely than not that putting A.J. Maloney into a coma was the only action they could take to protect that third party. And they're not going to be able to meet that burden today. And to show you that the defendant had her target and took her out, we're going to call two witnesses to the stand. First, you're going to hear from A.J. Maloney's younger brother, Gene. And he's going to walk you through the weeks leading up to the attack. He'll tell you that the defendant and her partner were stalking A.J. Maloney. They were going through his trash, following him around the town, and even showed up at her house. Gene will also walk you through the aftermath of the attack. How AJ was covered in blood, in bandages, in bruises. That she still hasn't woken up from that coma. But you're also going to hear from an eyewitness at the nightclub that night, Mr. Umi Darwish. And he's going to walk you through what he heard the defendant planning
30 seconds.
prior to the attack. You'll hear that the defendant was actually planning to take out her target before anything actually transpired. That this was premeditated. You'll also hear that Mr. Darwish found this hammer covered in blood next to the body. And that's why at the end of today's trial, we're going to come before you and ask that you find the defendant liable for battery. Thanks.
Sorry.
Opening for the defense, Your Honor. They have the right suspect. But it's the wrong story. Mr. Kitahara just got up here and told you a story about a violent vigilante with a taste for vengeance. They painted a picture of an undisciplined villain who on July 20th of last year just snapped. But that story, it's not just misguided or incomplete. It's actually just wrong. In contrast to the story that the plaintiff's counsel just came up here and told you about, you'll learn that the defendant in today's case, Miss Teddy Mothersbaugh, she's just a loving partner who tried to do the right thing. Because regardless of whatever they want you to believe, you'll learn that Teddy Mothersbaugh, she wasn't the person who started the violence that night. Instead of igniting that violent fight that you just heard about, Ms. Mothersbaugh only stepped in when someone else's life depended on her action. And now we're here in this courtroom because the plaintiff has brought forth a claim of civil battery against the defendant, Ms. Teddy Mothersbaugh. And that means that they have to prove three things to you today by a preponderance of the evidence. First, they have to prove that the plaintiff, AJ Maloney, suffered harm, that the defendant was the cause for that harm, and that the defendant actually intended to harm AJ Maloney. They have to prove all three of those elements by a preponderance of the evidence, which just means more likely than not. Regardless of what happens in this courtroom today, they have to meet that burden. But that's not the only burden in this courtroom today. Like plaintiff's counsel mentioned, we've actually taken on an affirmative defense, which means that we have a burden of our own. We agree to the facts that the plaintiffs have alleged, but it's not the whole story. We'll prove to you today that it's more likely than not that Teddy's Mothersbaugh only joined in that fight when someone else's life depended on it. Her actions, they weren't a senseless act of violence. They were done in the defense of someone else. Now, someone else is someone named Ali Uchida. You'll actually get to hear from Mr. Uchida today. And when you do, we expect him to tell you that Miss Mothersbaugh, she's not just someone who tries to protect the city. She's actually his partner. He'll tell you about the relationship the two of them had, the fight that happened that night, and how Miss Mothersbaugh only joined in when it was life or death for Mr. Uchida. And we'll prove to you today that that fight, it was in fact life or death. Because you'll actually hear from an eyewitness who was at the Hellfire Lounge, the club where this all went down. And we expect that eyewitness to tell you how angry the plaintiff was that night. How they were storming around, acting like they were on drugs, chasing Miss Uchida out of that club into the alleyway. Because Miss Mothersbaugh, she wasn't the one who started that fight. She did what she thought had to be done in order to save the life of someone else. They've got the right story. They've got the right suspect, but the wrong story. That's why at the end of today's trial, we'll ask you to find Miss Mothersbaugh not liable. Thank you.
All right, plaintiffs, are you ready to call your first witness?
Yes, Your Honor. The plaintiff calls Mr. Gene Malone. Do we need to swear in the witness?
Not in this jurisdiction.
Please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you introduce yourself to the members of the jury?
Hi there. My name is, Mr. Miller,
Where are you from?
from around here, but I've moved a lot. I used to live downtown by the marina, but now my parents live by the, post office, one on Third and Randall. They're my foster parents.
How long you been with foster system?
Just about a year. I used to live with my brother. Our parents passed a few years back. It was a drunk driver. My sister, she dropped out of school to take care of me.
Gene, you said your sister took care of you. Why did that change?
My sister, she's been at home for about the last year.
Can you tell the members of the jury what happened to your sister?
She was working at this nightclub downtown. One night while she was working, she was attacked.
Do you know where your sister was working?
Yeah. It's this place called the Hellfire Lounge.
Gene, you ever been to the Hellfire Lounge?
No. No, I'm too young. AJ, she told me to go nowhere near there, and it's just too dangerous.
Gene, have you ever met somebody named Ali Uchida?
I have. About a year ago, he came to my house, started asking questions about that lounge.
Do you know what Mr. Uchida does for a living?
I do. He's a journalist.
Do you see him in court today?
Yeah. He's wearing the black suit.
I want to talk more about your interactions with Mr. Uchida, all right?
All right.
When was the first time you met?
Like I said, about a year ago, he showed up at my house looking for information with his partner, Teddy.
Did they say why they came to your door?
They wanted to know everything I knew about the lounge that AJ worked at. Said I had to cooperate or else
Or else what?
something bad was going to happen to AJ.
Did you give him information about the club?
No. I mean, I had nothing to give them. I didn't even know what they were asking about. AJ told me stay far away from that place, and I'll listen to her.
Was that the last time you saw Mr. Uchida and defendant?
No. They didn't take no for an answer. Wasn't good enough for them. They didn't leave us alone.
Gene, what do you mean?
They harassed us for weeks that July. They were showing up at my door. They were waiting outside behind my apartment. They were digging through our trash. I mean, sir, it just didn't stop.
Gene, if it's all right, I want to talk to you about the night of July 20th, okay?
It's okay. That's why I'm here.
How'd that night start for you?
Working that night. So closing shift.
When did you find out something happened to your sister?
It's right as I was closing up. I walked to the back door of the shop just to make sure it was locked. My phone started ringing. It was one of AJ's friends from work. She didn't tell me what happened. She just said I needed to get there as fast as I could.
What'd you do?
Started begging my boss to let me use his bike. I mean, I didn't even know how to get to the club from there. It was all the way across town, but I just needed to get to her.
Gene, did you get to your sister?
No. By the time I got there, they had already taken her away.
Where was she?
She was at the hospital. In the emergency room. When I got there, some doctors told me that her brain was bleeding. I just wanted to know if she was gonna be okay.
Objection, Your Honor, due to a lack of foundation.
Can you elaborate on your basis?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Maloney just testified to some of the conditions that his brother may have had at the hospital. We actually have the Mr. Maloney, AJ Maloney's medical report here today. We'd like for that foundation to be laid in court, for that medical report to be brought out if they want to talk about any of the conditions that his brother may have had.
Response from the defense?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Maloney isn't referencing that report now. We plan to enter it later, just not on this examination.
May I reply, Your Honor?
Yes.
Your Honor, he specifically did mention some of those conditions that Mr. Maloney had, such as the brain bleeding. If we're going to dive into what's specifically in the medical report, we just ask that that be brought out before we start laying that onto the record.
I think effect on the listener would suggest that this is sufficient. It's appropriate at this time. It's going to be overruled.
Yes, Your Honor.
Gene, what did the doctors say about your sister?
Said that her brain was bleeding. I didn't know what that really meant. I just wanted to make sure she was okay.
Did you get to see AJ in the emergency room?
Only for a second. I was running down this hallway and I looked in the window and I only got to see her for a second.
Gene, what did AJ look like when you saw him?
I didn't know where she was. I don't know if I would have known it was her. These doctors, they were swarming her. They had all these machines going and there was so much blood in her face. I don't know. I don't know.
Gene, did it look like your sister was awake?
I didn't know. Her eyes were swollen shut. And she wasn't moving, and then she started shaking real bad, and I got so scared. I just started yelling out to her. I wanted her to know I was there, but I don't think she could hear me.
Gene, what happened next?
Some doctors grabbed me. They took me out. They took me back to the waiting room, and AJ was just still inside. I didn't have the answers. I didn't have anyone to call. And I just sat in that waiting room alone.
Gene, did you see anyone else outside the emergency room?
Yeah, I saw that man, Teddy.
Did the defendant say anything to you?
Yeah, she asked me if her boyfriend was okay. My brother was upstairs dying. And that was the first thing that she said to me.
Thank you, Gene. Nothing further to the plaintiff.
Ross, by the defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Maloney.
Morning.
In your conversation with Mr. Matthew, you told us your brother works at night.
Yeah, she does.
You said AJ told you that nightclub was dangerous.
That's what she told me. Only stay as far away from it as I could.
That's right, sir. She said to stay away from that nightclub.
That's right, ma'am.
She told you dangerous people hung around.
Yeah, that's right.
So one of those dangerous people was her boss, Emerson Rajan.
I think so, yeah.
Sometimes AJ, she would talk to you about her boss.
Yeah, I talked to her about work if we could.
She'd say that she worked as Mr. Rajan's bodyguard or his muscle, and when she said that, sir, you were confused.
Objection, a compound, just to break those two questions up.
This is cross-examination overruled.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, when your sister told you she worked as a bodyguard at that club, you were confused by that, weren't you?
She was bouncer, so yeah.
Sir, you were confused why owner of that nightclub might need a bodyguard.
Yeah, I know.
But Mr. Maloney, you do know why he needed a bodyguard.
You mean?
Sir, you know they were selling drugs out of that nightclub.
I think so. I don't really know. I've never been there.
Let's break that down then, sir, because you've seen a drug called Held Us before.
Yeah, that's right.
You were arrested for possession of that drug in 2024.
Yeah, I was with one of my friends. He had a bag of it. Now I was just there, so they took us both in. That's right.
You'd recognize that drug if I showed it to you today.
I would. Yeah.
Your Honor, I'm retrieving Exhibit A and showing it to opposing counsel. I'm approaching Mr. Maloney. Sir, that's that drug I just mentioned, Held Us.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
It looks the same as the last time you saw it.
Yes, ma'am.
It hasn't been changed in any way.
No, ma'am. Yes.
Your Honor, the defense moves to enter Exhibit A into evidence.
Objections?
None.
So admitted.
Mr. Maloney, your arrest wasn't the only time you've been around that drug.
That's right, ma'am.
You've seen bags of white powder that look exactly like that one at the club where your brother worked.
I saw it once when I ran there.
Sir, you've seen it several times being handed out to people in the back alley.
Yeah, I have.
And when AJ talked about his work, sometimes she tell you that she had to accompany her boss to jobs.
That's what she said.
Accompany her boss to jobs to meet suppliers.
That's right.
So when you asked her what she meant by that, she wouldn't tell you.
She didn't like talking about work too much.
She showed you up. She didn't want to talk about work.
She would just tell me what she'd be doing for the day, but no. When she was off the clock, she wanted to talk about something else.
AJ refused to tell you if drugs were being sold out of that club.
Never talked about that.
She refused to tell you if she was helping sell those drugs.
And specifically asked her, but no, she never told me that.
Sir, it's not just that your sister was selling drugs. You know that she was doing them too, isn't that right?
Objection, the counsel testify.
Counsel, please rephrase the question.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Maloney, you know that your sister was doing drugs.
It wasn't like that.
You're telling us she wasn't like that now, but let's talk about whether or not she was using drugs. Because, sir, you've seen your brother with bags of that product right there.
I've seen something look like that, but AJ, she wasn't like that.
Mr. Maloney, you've seen your sister with that drug, yes?
That's right.
And you're telling us she wasn't like that. But, sir, you've seen her medical report.
I have.
Doctor showed it to you at the hospital.
Yeah, that's all I.
You'd recognize it if I showed it to you today?
Yeah, that's right.
Your Honor, I'm retrieving AJ Maloney's medical report. That's Exhibit 1. I'm showing opposing counsel. I'm approaching Mr. Maloney with the same. So that's AJ Maloney's medical report.
Yeah, this is hers.
Well, it's the same as the last time you saw it.
Does, yes.
Your Honor, Exhibit 1 is pre-admitted. Sir, could you turn to page 2 for me?
Sure.
It said AJ had cocaine in her system.
Yeah, it does.
It says AJ had MDMA in her system.
Yeah,
It says AJ had methamphetamine in her system.
yeah, that's what it says right here.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Maloney. Your Honor, I have no further questions. I'll retrieve those 2 exhibits.
Redirect.
None, Your Honor, just ask that Mr. Maloney can step down.
Yes, you're gonna sit down, so thank you for your time today. Are we ready to proceed with the next witness, plaintiffs?
Yes, Your Honor, it'll actually be defense.
That's right. Thank you for that.
The defense calls Ollie Uchida.
You
Morning.
proceed.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Would you please introduce yourself to the members of the jury?
Sure. Hello there, my name is Ali Uchida.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Uchida?
I'm a journalist. I work for the Times. Not the LA Times, it's a regional paper called the Murata Times.
Do you like what you do?
Love it. Since I was a kid, I've been into investigative journalism. You know, when I was in middle school, I broke onto the school paper by revealing that the PE teacher and the art teacher, that they were actually dating. They drove home together every day, so it wasn't that hard to crack.
What kind of stories do you write now?
Less gossip, more like seedy underbelly stuff. Like drugs, corruption, like smuggling. I just did a story on a Labubu smuggling ring. The hardest part was figuring out what Labubus were. The smuggling was, it was easy.
Do you work alone?
No. No, my partner is also my wife. Her name is Teddy Mothersbaugh.
I want to focus on Teddy and Mothersbaugh. How the 2 of you meet?
Well, in my line of work, you get into a lot of sticky situations. So I thought it would be a good idea to enroll in some self-defense classes. So I enrolled in an MMA jiu-jitsu gym kind of thing. That's where I met Teddy.
Did you talk to her?
Kind of, you know, I went up to her. And I got so lost in her eyes, I didn't exactly look down and see her waist that had a black belt on it. She took my breath away. Literally, I mean, she flipped me over, she choked me out. It was quite impressive, actually.
How did that turn into a relationship?
Well, it went on like that for a while. You know, I had a crush on her, I'd show up, she'd crush me. But then one day after practice, you know, she planted a kiss right on my cheek and, you know, rest is history, I guess.
Mr. Uchida, I want to talk about why we're here today. Do you know who the serpent is?
Yeah. The Serpent is this like snake themed crime fighter in the city. Also happens to be my wife.
How did you find that out?
Well, when we started living together, she was coming home real late at night. You know, more bumps and bruises than I originally thought. Now, at first I thought it was just extra jujitsu training, but no. She started coming home with a lot more damage than I was expecting. I mean, broken nose, broken hands, blood everywhere. You know, I confronted her about it. And that's when she told me.
How did you react when you found out your wife was a vigilante?
Well, I was scared. I didn't approve. I didn't want her putting herself in danger, but you know, the more I thought about it, I understood. You know, I get myself in dangerous situations all the time. I understood she was doing the same just to help people.
Do you know when the last time it was that Teddy Mothersbaugh went out as a serpent?
I'll never forget. It was July 20th of last year. I put myself in danger. She saved me. Somebody got really, really hurt that night.
And let's talk about what happened that night. Where were you on July 20th?
I was at this club downtown called the Hellfire Club. I've been running an investigation to see whether or not it was actually a drug ring.
Did Teddy come with you?
Yeah, she wouldn't let me go alone. I made sure she'd stay outside just in case anything went wrong. She kissed me on the cheek, wished me luck, and I went in that night.
Did you find anything?
Well, I found some of the evidence I was looking for, actually. See, I was walking through the back rooms. I found this crate that looked a little out of place. I popped it open, and I found it full of little bags of white powder.
Would you recognize a bag of that white powder if I showed it to you?
Yes, I would.
Your Honor, I'm retrieving Exhibit 8 and showing opposing counsel and the witness in the room.
No objection?
I believe it's already in evidence.
Sir, what did I just hand you?
This is the white powder I found. In that crate, there were dozens, maybe hundreds of these little bags. You know, as soon as I saw that, I whipped out my phone to take a picture. But when I did, one of the staff members walked through the door. They caught me in the act.
Do you know who that staff member was?
I didn't at the time, but now I do. It was a bouncer. Her name was AJ Malone.
What happened when AJ Maloney walked out of that office?
Well, immediately she started chasing me down. You know, we ran down the hallway. I ran into the crowd. I went left. I went right. I tried to dodge wherever I could, but I turned around and she was always there. Eventually, I slipped out of this emergency exit door into an alley, but she followed me and cornered me.
What did she do next?
See, I whipped out my phone because I knew Teddy might be around. But as soon as I did, she grabbed my phone and smashed it. You know, and I figured now the evidence is gone. So that'd probably be the end of it.
Was that the end of it?
No. She hit me hard. I fell down, she tackled me, climbed on top of me. By the time I realized what was happening, she had my arm behind me like that. You know, I've been doing jujitsu for so long that I started like tapping her like crazy to try to get her off, but well, she didn't. And that's when I realized I was in real trouble. So I started screaming bloody murder.
What did she do when you started screaming for help?
Well, she must not have liked that. There was this like brick wall behind us. She picked me up, she slammed me into it. I don't know if she was trying to knock me out. I went quiet. My ears were ringing, my vision was going, and she just climbed on top of me and started raining down punches.
What did she do next?
Well, the punches were going and they were going, and then all of a sudden, they stopped. I opened my eyes. I saw it was Teddy. She was in the costume and she was fighting AJ on my behalf.
So what's the last thing you remember?
I remember that the bouncer cracked her real hard. She fell to the floor, he climbed on top, they started wrestling, punching, all that. Teddy was on the bottom, and that's when I saw her. She grabbed the hammer on the floor. And that's the last thing I remember. I went out.
When did you wake up?
I was in the hospital. You know, I woke up and I started panicking. I didn't know how long I had been out. And that's when I saw Teddy in the floor. She was beat up hard. Made you a black eye, busted, and all that. And that's when I started really freaking out. I mean, I put myself in plenty of bad situations before, but nobody had ever gotten hurt because of me.
Sir, do you know what happened to AJ Maloney?
I know he's in a coma. Look, I can't help but feel somewhat responsible. If I didn't get involved, he wouldn't be in that coma. We wouldn't be in trial, and I had to carry that weight.
Sorry,
Thank you for your time, Mr. Cheatham. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
thank you. Ross?
Yes, Your Honor, before cross, we just want to enter exhibit 2, the second medical report. For that stipulation, all objections are waived, no more foundations.
It is still there. See.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Uchi.
Hi,
I want to talk about why you're here today, okay?
of course, okay.
So like you told us, the defendant, she isn't a stranger, is she?
No, Patty's my wife. You're right.
Exactly, sir, you love her, right?
Yes, very much, of course.
So you're worried about her.
Terribly.
You're worried this trial might hurt.
Of course, yes,
You think it's taking a toll on her, right?
right.
Think it's taking a toll on her reputation.
Right, people don't like the serpent as much anymore. It's kind of her job.
Because of this case, you think her reputation is in trouble.
Right, the serpent, that's true.
That's why you're here.
Right,
You're here to clear her name, right?
but she was only trying to protect me, that's true.
That's right. You're here to tell this jury she did nothing wrong.
All I can tell you is what happened. She stepped in to try and protect me. I think that's the right thing to do.
You think she did nothing wrong.
Right, I think it's the right thing to do.
So your words, nothing wrong.
Yes, it was the right thing.
You tell this jury she was just defending you.
Yes, she was, that's right.
I want to talk about whether instead Miss Maloney was a target.
Okay,
Because July 20th, that wasn't the first time you met, right?
no. I had investigated the club before. I run into her a couple of times.
Right. Weeks earlier, you'd actually been inside the club.
Right, yeah, that's true.
You went somewhere that you weren't supposed to go.
Right, behind the staff-only door, that's true.
When you did, Mr. Maloney kicked you out.
Yes,
When you told the defendant what happened, she said if that happened again, she'd kill him.
yeah, she said if anybody put her hands on me, hurt me, she would kill.
After that night, The defendant started looking into Miss Malone.
Right, we were researching plenty of people at the club, a lot of the employees. That included Miss Maloney, you're right.
You noticed the defendant was focusing specifically on Miss Malone,
Right, exactly.
started following her.
Yes, well, we started looking into him, looking through his trash, trying to find the drug paraphernalia, that kind of thing.
You would follow him around the city,
Yes,
follow his younger brother.
right,
So when you went back to that club on July 20th, well, she went with you.
yeah. She stayed outside, wish me luck, I went indoors.
Should be clear, sir, that wasn't your idea for her to come, right?
No, she said she wanted to make sure I was safe.
She insisted on coming back to that club where Miss Maloney worked.
Right, she knew the place was dangerous. Wanted to protect.
You told us the defendant was only fighting Miss Maloney to defend you. I want to see if that's true. I'm
Okay,
approaching with exhibits 1 and 2. These are medical reports.
thank you.
So let's start with exhibit 2. That's your medical report from the night of the 20th, right?
Yes, this right here, it's my medical report from that night.
It says when you came into the ER, you were conscious.
Yeah, conscious but dazed is what they wrote.
Said you could speak, right?
Yes, it says that I had no neurological impairment.
Said that you were able to talk, complain about your head.
Oh, yes, it says I was complaining of intense pain.
Says your vitals, they were all stable, right?
Right,
You told us your wife, well, she had a black eye, a busted lip, right?
right.
I want you to flip to that second document, okay?
This one, right here.
That's right. That's Miss Maloney's report.
Yes, it says AJ Maloney at the top.
Sir, that report tells a very different story, right?
The injuries, they're much more serious, sir.
After the defendant took her out, she was unresponsive,
Unresponsive behavior.
unconscious,
Yes, that too.
bleeding in her brain.
Yeah, it says that here as well.
After you saw the defendant reach for this hammer, she had broken bones throughout her body.
Right, AJ was on top of her. She reached for that hammer that was on the floor.
She was sent into that ER convulsed.
That's what it says here, yeah.
Till this day, she's in a coma.
I'm well aware.
Thank you, sir. Nothing further.
You drag.
No redirect, Your Honor. We just ask that Mr. Uchida be excused.
Excuse me. Thank you.
We're all right on time, Your Honor. The plaintiff has another witness to call, but I believe we're all right for a trial break in between the witnesses.
Defense is minimal, Your Honor.
That's it. Okay, let's take a break then.
Right, just past that.
Maybe that one's the next page.
Thanks.
Different scoring format. I did this competition last year, was their first time. And I don't remember scoring system being like this. And everything was different from a lot of the other ones, but. Because the other ones, there's like numbers and this and that, but still, it's a little different this year, but that's the second year they're developing. Honestly, pick one or the other is easier.
I agree with that.
You're doing a good job presiding.
Well, fortunately been in front of a lot of judges who don't know what they're doing, so. Taking their lead.
Yeah, judges make mistakes.
Doesn't sound right to me.
Do I have stories?
Unfortunately, that's common.
Oh, God, I have whacked other stories. I had a friend whose gun had been taken because he had said he wanted to go back and shoot himself. His back hurt so much, and so animal control officer reported it. He had his gun confiscated. You get the gun back. You have to go to mental health court.
Okay.
Mental health court is whack. Okay, it's just.
There's the territory, huh?
Well, why are you doing mental health work? So the thing that strikes me as the most memorable was a guy came up and he had on, like the orange suit on, in cus- and just started to talk to him and he dropped his pants. Had nothing on underneath and said, "Your Honor, I can represent myself." It's like, I don't think you got the concept about what that really means.
What kind of law do the two of you practice?
I do business litigation, so I'm not often in mental health court, just with a friend of mine. His gun had been taken and he said, "I need something to help me get it out." He got his gun back and, I was kind of surprised that they'd actually taken it because someone said, "Oh, I feel my back hurts so much, I could go to," anyway. But I could understand the animal control officer saying, "I'd rather be careful."
Sure.
And so didn't fault, I knew the animal control officer too, I knew the guy because we went to the same dog park.
Okay.
And so I knew the animal control officer too, and it's kind of like, okay, but that was the only time I've been in mental health court, thank goodness. It's a whole different universe.
What about yourself?
I do civil rights. And criminal offense. I case all the both, all the time. So.
I do environmental.
Okay.
That comes to the record.
Yeah, it can be.
I don't mean like this, I mean up here.
You may all have a seat.
I do the big part of that.
Are we ready to proceed?
Defense is not ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Plaintiff is well, Your Honor.
All right, we're gonna begin with plaintiff's next witness, please.
That's right, Your Honor. The plaintiff calls Mr. Umi Darwish to the stand.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Please.
Good morning, sir. Could you please introduce yourself to the members of the jury?
Yeah. My name is Umi Darwish. I'm 23 years old.
Where are you from?
Bakersfield. Sorry, Bakersfield, it's a city in California. You might have heard of our city motto, though. You were supposed to stay on I-5. I think it's pretty good.
How'd you end up in Tower City?
I wanted to be an actor, actually, but my dad, he had some different career choices for me. It would go doctor, lawyer, disappointment. I said, what the heck? I choose disappointment. Left Bakersfield behind and came here.
What do you do now?
I mean, I'm still going to auditions, but the whole acting thing isn't going so well. I mean, you saw some other guy in Superman. So instead, I work odd jobs to support myself. I have a clothing resale business these days, and I also perform. I play guitar downtown in front of a street called the Hellfire. To be honest, I know like maybe 2 chords, and I can't do the D chord that well, but I do play.
Why are you here today?
Last July on the 20th, I was doing my thing when I heard all this yelling coming from the alley behind the club. I went to check and I saw a bouncer named AJ Maloney. She was hurt pretty badly. I'm here to tell you what I know.
Let's walk through that next, sir. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary that night?
Yeah, so when people are going to the club, you have to stand in line and hope they get let in. But I remember seeing 2 people show up, but instead of getting in line, they kind of went back around and circled over to that alley behind the club.
Did you recognize those 2 people?
I did. It was Mr. Ollie Uchida and Miss Teddy Mothersbaugh. I met them before. Actually, in the weeks leading up to July 20th, I'd seen them around the club a lot, kind of in the neighborhood, walking around.
What were they doing in the alley that night?
I remember hearing Mr. Uchida turn to Miss Mothersbaugh and say, I'm gonna come out here, and he pointed to a door.
Objection, Your Honor, to hearsay.
May I respond, Your Honor?
Yes, please respond.
Yes, Your Honor, may I proffer?
Please.
The next question will ask, how did the defendant respond? We're offering that statement to demonstrate the effect on the listener. The defendant, we're not offering it for the truth of the matter.
I respond on those grounds, Your Honor.
Yes,
They can bring out the defendant's statement without bringing in Ms. Alice Uchida's statement. They're trying to force that in under effect on the listener, but they're not actually using it for anything other than the truth.
I'm gonna sustain the hearsay objection.
Yes,
Yeah.
Your Honor.
Did you see how the defendant responded to that?
Yeah, so after Mr. Uchida pointed to the door and motioned, I remember seeing Miss Mothersbaugh nod. And then Mr. Uchida, went into the club, got in line, but Miss Mothersbaugh did. She got into this black sports car that was parked in front of the alley. And I figured that was the end of it. I went back to doing my thing. But maybe 15 minutes later, a black sports car that looked identical to the one that Miss Mothersbaugh got in, it pulled back up to that same spot in front of the alley. And the door opened up.
Who got out of that car?
The serpent?
Oh, hold on, sir. Who's the serpent?
Oh, I'm so sorry. The serpent's this vigilante who's been running around the city. Which I know sounds crazy, but I've actually seen them before. They were green and they stopped robbers and stuff.
What happened after the serpent got out of that car?
I saw them run inside the alley back where I couldn't see them anymore. I wanted to follow, but I tripped and I fell. I dropped my guitar. I had to retune the whole thing. People were watching. It was very embarrassing.
Did you see what happened in that alley?
I didn't see much, but I heard this weird thudding coming from the alley, and a lot of screaming too.
Did you go to see what was going on there?
Yeah, the noise only started after the serpent went in, and then when it stopped and I got back up, I saw the serpent run back out. And so I checked. And I saw Mr. Uchida and Miss Maloney.
What was Mr. Uchida doing?
He looked a little bruised and scraped, but I saw him sitting up. he looked awake.
What was AJ Maloney doing?
Well, Miss Maloney was. AJ Maloney was, AJ was lying on the ground. Um, she wasn't moving or anything. I went to get a little bit closer and I noticed that there was a red stain on my sneakers. And I checked and I saw it was blood. And I realized it was coming from AJ.
What'd you do after that?
I mean, at that point, a crowd started to form, and I just stood there. And for the first time, I wish I just listened to my dad and gone to med school. Because I wanted to help. I had no idea what to do. Eventually, though, an ambulance came and picked AJ up. That was the last time I've seen her.
Now, sir, besides AJ, is there anything else in the alley with blood on it?
Yeah, I saw this hammer by AJ, and it looked pretty bloody.
Approaching the witness with exhibit 7 in briefly. Sir, what did I just hand you?
This is the hammer that I saw. When I saw it first, it was earlier in the night, and it was in a pile of trash by the side. But after the servant walked out, I saw it again. And it was by AJ. And it was covered in blood.
Thank you, sir. No further questions, Your Honor.
Ross?
Yes, Your Honor. All right, Mr. Darwish, I actually want to start with that hammer right there, okay?
All right.
Like you mentioned on direct, that hammer was in the alley before that fight ever started, right?
Right. I saw it earlier that night.
Right, in the evening before anybody had gone into the bar. That hammer was sitting in a pile of trash, right?
Yeah, I usually get there around 3 p.m. to set up, and I remember seeing it around then.
I want to be really clear about something. Teddy Mothersbaugh didn't walk into the bar with that hammer, did she?
No, Miss Mothersbaugh never went into the bar.
You never saw Teddy Mothersbaugh holding that hammer.
No, I didn't.
You never saw Ali Uchida holding that hammer.
No, I saw Mr. Uchida point to that door, and then I saw him on the ground later.
I'm not asking you about what he was pointing to. I'm asking you if you ever saw him walk into the bar holding that hammer, and you never saw that, did you?
Oh, no, but that's not what he was doing.
Oh, on direct examination, you talked a lot about who was getting to that bar and when, right?
I'm sorry, ma'am, what's a direct?
I'll rephrase, Mr. Darwish. Earlier, you told us about who was getting to that lounge and when they were getting there, right?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Lee was asking me about that.
Or you talked about which cars they pulled up in.
Right, Miss Mothersbaugh drove in that black sports car, and then there was that other black sports car.
Admittedly, you don't have the best memory though, do you?
I mean, my memory's pretty good, I think.
Is it your testimony that you have a good memory, Mr. Darwish?
I mean, not the best man. To be honest, I'm not very good with cars. I know it was a black and it looked like a sports car, but I couldn't tell you much else.
All right, so you'd agree you don't have the best memory. Is that fair to say?
Not with cars, ma'am. I studied English in college, not engineering.
Oh, despite not having a very good memory, you're still here testifying against the defendant, aren't you?
I am. I mean, I saw the whole thing that went into the alley and what happened with AJ, so I figured I could help.
Mr. Darwish, you're actually testifying against the defendant specifically because you want her to go to jail.
I mean, AJ got beat up pretty badly. I hope someone goes to jail for that.
Right, you hope that person's the defendant?
I mean, if Miss Mothersbaugh beat him up, then yeah.
Right, you're not exactly fond of Miss Mothersbaugh, are you?
Not particularly.
In fact, you hate them so much that you're testifying voluntarily.
Oh, I don't hate her, man.
Mr. Darwish, you weren't subpoenaed to be here, were you?
No, I wasn't.
And you took hours out of your weekend to come testify against the defendant so she goes to jail.
Right, it's Saturday, so I'm here on the weekend.
You think that the defendant actually exemplifies the saying, hell is other people, right?
Yeah, the Jean-Paul Sartre. I studied English.
Mr. Darwish, you blame the defendant for your current financial problems too, don't you?
Yeah, so I actually used to work as a confidential informant for the police. But while Miss Mothersbaugh and Mr. Cheetah were investigating, Mr. Cheetah published a list of informants with my name on it. That had to stop, so I switched over to that clothing business.
Right, safe to say that's created a financial hardship for you?
Right, aspiring actors are not known for rolling in it. Yes.
So bringing you back to my initial question, you blame the defendant for that hardship.
Right, I mean, Miss Mothersbaugh and Mr. Cheetah were doing that investigation, and then that article got published.
Miss Mothersbaugh, she's not the only party in this case that you have a history with, is she?
I'm sorry, party, is that like a legal thing?
The plaintiff, Emerson Rajan, is your good friend, right?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Rajan owns the club where I perform. You know, older gentleman, very nice beard. He's very friendly.
He's your friend.
Yes,
Right, he called you up, asked you to testify.
he did.
You thought that was weird, right?
I guess, I mean, I work in front of the club pretty much every night, so I guess he figured I saw something. I hadn't.
Well, Mr. Darwish, you thought it was weird because you actually hadn't told him anything you saw, right?
Right, not when he called me.
Despite that, he still asked you to come testify against the defendant?
That's right.
And despite not having told Mr. Rajan anything, you agreed to come testify against Miss Mothersbaugh, right?
Right, I mean, like we talked about, I saw AJ and the hammer and all this crazy stuff. I just want to be helpful.
To be clear, Mr. Darwish, you hadn't told Rajan any of that when he called you up.
That's right.
And now you're here testifying against Miss Mothersbaugh, hoping she goes to jail, right?
Right, I'm testifying today.
After all, you certainly wouldn't want to get on Rajan's bad side, would you?
Oh, no, man, I don't want to get on anyone's bad side. I hope I haven't been bothering him.
I have no further questions.
Greg?
No redirect, Your Honor. Maybe I would step down.
Yes. Are we ready to call the next witness?
Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls Miss Nova Stone. Madam Chief,
Yes, please.
would you mind introducing yourself to the court?
Sure. Hi there. My name is Nova Stone.
What do you do for a living, Miss Stone?
Well, this juncture I'm retired. But what I used to do, before the smokes got to my voice, I was a star. I traveled all over the country, performing for people.
Well, if you're not working anymore, what do you do today?
Oh, I do what everybody does. I wake up around 2 in the afternoon, I take my medications, and I head down to the coffee shop. I spend a couple of hours socializing with the other patrons. And I just like everybody else, despite my star-studded past. I put my pants on one leg. Well, I did give up pants in '84. But you understand what I'm getting at, right?
What does the rest of your day look like?
Well, before I head down to the club, sorry. Before I head down to the club, I do the rest of my day, talk to my girls at the coffee shop, all that.
You're telling us you go to a club in the evenings. What country club is that?
Oh, no, sir, not a country club. They wouldn't let new money like me in there. I go down to the Hellfire Lounge.
The Hellfire Lounge. Could you tell the jury what the Hellfire Lounge is?
Oh, it's the closest thing to heaven you can find in the state of Ohio. You know, I moved to Taylor City to settle down after my younger days of going to the Roxy and Studio 54, but I still wanted to feel the glitter of my past. So Hellfire, it did the job.
Ma'am, how many years have you been going to the Hellfire Lounge?
Years. Now, son, you should know a gentleman would never ask a lady a question like that. But since we're in court now, I'll throw you a bone. I've been going to the club since a bush was in it. Won't tell you which one.
Well, how often do you usually go to the Hellfire Lounge?
No, 4 or 5 times a week.
Would you call yourself a regular then?
Oh, definitely a regular. I mean, the bouncers, they don't even ask for my ID anymore. Everybody there knows me, and I know them.
Miss Stone, you were mentioning some of the bouncers at the Hellfire Lounge. Do you know any of their names?
Oh, yeah, of course. There's Sam, there's AJ, there's Frank. Frank, he's one of my little boyfriends. He only works on Tuesdays, but he always lets me in free.
You were telling us earlier that you're at the club pretty often. Do you remember if you were there on July 20th of 2024?
Yes, I was.
Ma'am, I want to walk through that night from the very beginning. Could you start off telling us how that night started out?
Sure. It's a short walk from my apartment, but when I got there, the line was long. You know what? I've been meaning to ask him for a key so I can just slip in through the back. I mean, if I'm standing in line for too long, I start to get stiff.
While you were in line that night, do you remember seeing someone named Umi Darwish?
Umi? Yeah, I remember seeing Umi. Yeah, you know, he says that he wants to be an artist, that he wants to perform. But when I saw him, he was dressed like a superhero playing the guitar. I mean, what is this, Times Square? You gonna start charging for pictures next?
Do you remember if Umi was the only person that you recognized in line?
Oh, no, like I said, I know everybody, so let's see. Teddy was there, Allie, and AJ was there.
I want to take those one by one, okay?
So
Let's start about AJ. When did you see AJ?
I had been standing in line for a couple of minutes when AJ walked out for his smoke break. Used to, I would ask the bum one, but since I found out you're not really supposed to smoke inside the club, the girls down at the coffee shop, they introduced me to electronic cigarettes.
Do you remember seeing AJ talk to anyone while you were in line?
Oh yeah, AJ talked to Umi. We kind of yelled at Umi, and Umi started yelling back. The two of them, they were always going at it like that.
What about those other two people you mentioned earlier? When did you see Ali Uchida and Teddy Mothers talk?
Oh, it was while I was standing in line. Those two, they're so cute. I mean, they remind me of me and one of my old flames back in the day. You know, I called him Mr. Spectacular until the Californians elected him governor. Although in this scenario, Allie was me and Teddy, well, and she was the spitting image of Arnold's sister.
Well, did you see either Teddy or Ali once you were inside the club?
Well, once I got inside, me and Allie kind of got separated, but it wasn't long before I heard AJ calling his name. He was just screaming it over the music. I mean, AJ looked furious. I mean, I've never seen her that angry other than when she's hawked up off the Hellfire stuff.
I'm sorry, did you say Hellfire?
Yeah, there was these new drugs they were running out of the Hellfire had. They called it Hell Dust.
Ma'am, would you recognize a bag of that hell dust if I showed it to you?
Sure.
Approaching the bench. Witness. Ma'am, what did I just hand you?
This looks like a bag of the Hell Dust.
Did you ever see AJ with that bag of hell dust on July 20th?
Oh yeah, I saw AJ holding the stuff. You know, when the little baggies come out, that's about the time I see myself.
Ma'am, I want to go back earlier to when you were describing AJ chasing Allie through that club. What was happening?
Well, I could hear AJ yelling Allie's name. And I couldn't see Allie at first, but eventually the back door opened and I saw it. AJ was right on his heels. She reared back to try to punch him, but luckily she missed. I mean, AJ's no little girl.
Do you know what happened after they got out into that alleyway?
I didn't see what had happened in the alleyway, not at first. I didn't see Allie until I got to the hospital later that night.
Miss Stone, could you describe to the jury how Allie looked when you got to the hospital?
Not good. About how I looked New Year's '92. Covered in bruises all over, fading in and out of consciousness.
Do you remember seeing Teddy Mothersbaugh at the hospital that night?
I did. And Teddy, she was in the waiting room and she had a black eye and some bruising on her too. It didn't look good.
Nothing further.
Cross-examination, Your Honor.
Yes, please.
Okay, proceed.
Please do so.
Good morning, Ms. Stone.
Good morning, hon. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you, ma'am. I just have a few more questions for you today on behalf of AJ Malone, all right?
Okay.
Now, I want to start by talking a little bit more about that night, July 20th of last year, all right, ma'am?
I can do that.
Because your memory of that night is actually a little bit fuzzy, isn't it?
Towards the end, yeah. I mean, obviously I was going to the club, so as the night progressed, things typically get a little fuzzy.
Man, you actually forgot entire details from that night, didn't you?
I mean, little bits and pieces towards the end of the night, yeah.
Ma'am, you got in a fight at the bar, right?
Or somebody spilled their drink on me, and when I turned around to ask what the problem was, they were ready to go. They were fighting.
Well, ma'am, we can agree that that fight, you have really no idea how it got started.
Objection as to relevance.
Response, Your Honor?
So I think there's a pre-trial stipulation regarding relevance, that it's inapplicable. Do you have another basis?
No, Your Honor.
Ma'am, I'll repeat my question. You don't remember anything about how that fight really started, do you?
Well, I remember a bit about spilling my drink, but once I turned around and we got into it, I'm not sure what was said, why the punches started going.
Well, ma'am, I want to talk about why you might have forgotten some of those details. Because you were actually drinking pretty heavily that night, weren't you?
Pretty heavily, maybe. I mean, I was at the club. I was going to drink and dance and have a good time.
Right, ma'am, I want to talk about just how much you drank throughout the night, all right?
Okay.
Because when you entered the bar, the first thing you did was you ordered 3 Hellball fireballs, right?
Hellfire Highball.
I apologize, ma'am.
Yeah, it's basically a whiskey sour with a Red Bull in it. It's about as good as it sounds, but it gets you going to get out on the dance.
So, ma'am, 3 whiskey Red Bulls, you drank them immediately, didn't you?
Oh yeah, well, you're not supposed to take drinks out on the dance floor. You can spill it and slip. It's real dangerous, so you gotta drink them real quick before you go.
So 3 whiskey Red Bulls. Well, then you ordered 3 more tequila shots, right?
Yeah, I went back for a couple more drinks.
Those 3 tequila shots, you again drank them quickly, right?
With this shot. I don't know if you ever had one, but you're not supposed to sip it.
Right, man. So you had those 3 whiskey Red Bulls, those 3 more tequila shots, and then you decided to top it off with 2 more vodka sodas, right?
Yeah, at that point I was gonna go sit down, so I got my vodka sodas and went to have those.
So 8 drinks, man? You had 8 drinks over the course of an hour and a half?
I mean, once I got in the club, yeah, I was there for the night. I was ready to dance until morning.
Ma'am, 8 drinks over an hour and a half, that's about a drink every 12 or so minutes, right?
Well, some of them were small.
Well, ma'am, that's a drink about every 12 minutes, right?
I think so, yeah, if my math's right.
And ma'am, you had all of those drinks. Well, before you saw AJ and Allie outside, right?
Well, I didn't see him outside, I saw him inside.
Well, you had all of those drinks before you saw them running outside, right?
Yeah, I had the drinks while I was inside the bar, and AJ started chasing Allie while we were inside. Yeah.
If you had 8 drinks over an hour and a half, I want to talk about whether or not we can trust your word here in court, all right?
Okay.
Because you've actually lied while testifying before, haven't you?
I've never testified in court.
And it's your testimony that you've never testified in court for a speeding ticket?
Oh, for a speeding ticket? I did represent myself for a speeding ticket before.
And ma'am, in that case, you testified, right?
I talked to the judge, but nobody like sat me down and asked me questions like this.
Ma'am, you swore an oath to tell the truth, didn't you?
Well, they ask you to do that when you walk in, yeah.
And ma'am, when you swore that oath to tell the truth, well, you lied under oath, didn't you?
What? No.
Ma'am, you told the judge that you were speeding because you were on your way to a Taylor Swift concert, right?
Oh, yeah, I told him I was speeding because I was on the way to see Taylor Swift, but I was actually going to see Beyonce. I saw he had a Taylor Swift shirt on when he was walking into the courtroom, so I figured he was a fan.
Right, ma'am, we can agree that you lied under oath, right?
Oh, I mean, I changed the artist, yeah.
And you told that lie because you thought it was what the judge wanted to hear, right, ma'am?
Well, yeah, I mean, he seemed like a fan.
So just to be clear for the members of the jury, you took an oath to tell the truth here today, right?
Yeah, I was sworn before I came in.
And the last time you took that oath to tell the truth, well, you broke it, didn't you?
Well, I didn't lie about what happened. I was speeding to get to a concert. I just said that it was Taylor Swift instead of Beyonce.
Ma'am, is it your testimony that you didn't lie under oath in that case?
I mean, I changed the artist, yeah, if that's a lie.
Thank you, ma'am. No further questions, Your Honor.
Redirect,
No, Your Honor.
may this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
None. Any further witness?
Not from the plaintiff, Your Honor.
Defense rests our case in chief, Your Honor.
Are we ready to proceed with closing? Or,
No closing in this jurisdiction, Your Honor.
does that conclude today's
That
testimony?
does, yeah.
All right, so I'd like to thank everybody for their time. It's very enlightening. You'll let the jury deliberate at this point.